In today's video, we'll be talking about Marvel's Spider-Man, as it looks like Marvel Spider-Man 2 is already under work, as the creative director of the game put out a pretty interesting tweet today. Also, based on the GDC annual State of the Games Industry report, it looks like a lot of developers are already making games for next-gen platforms. I want to take a look at that statistic. Also, you guys may be aware that the Jump Force beta has been having a lot of issues. Bandai Namco canceled the second half of the beta, but they're going to be reopening it, and I'll let you guys know when that's going to be happening. Also, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice has gotten 15 minutes of new gameplay, and it is looking awesome. That is coming directly from the Taipei Game Show. We have the release date for Avalanche Studios' self-published title, the open world shooter in Generation Zero, and it'll be dropping March 2019, so not too long of a wait for that. And for those of you guys that love free stuff, I got a new Spyro dynamic theme for you guys, so we'll be talking about that at the end of this video. First up, Brian Intihar, the creative director at Insomniac Games who worked on Marvel Spider-Man, put out this tweet, quote, "Few things are more nerve-wracking than sharing your first story draft to others." Now, this could be some other game at Insomniac, but I don't think that's the case. Brian Intihar did work on Marvel Spider-Man, and I imagine that this first story draft is for Marvel Spider-Man 2. Now, if you played Marvel Spider-Man, you know it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that the game will be getting a sequel based on how it ended. There's still a lot of uncertainty surrounding the story and a lot of questions left unanswered, especially if you played the DLC as well. There's just a lot to explore, and based on how this game did commercially, Insomniac and Sony would be foolish not to put out another Spider-Man game. Marvel Spider-Man is the best-selling PlayStation exclusive of all time. Of course they're gonna do a follow-up title, but kind of interesting that just a few short months after the release of the first game, just a little bit after all of the DLC wrapped up, Brian Intihar is already sharing his first story draft. Now, the story will probably evolve after the first draft, but still pretty interesting that it's already made this much progress. We'll keep you guys posted. I imagine this will be a PlayStation 5 title. Speaking of the PlayStation 5, the Game Developers Conference published its annual State of the Games Industry report for 2019, and a survey conducted for the report based on 4,000 developers, about 18% of them are working on next-generation titles. Specifically, 2% of the respondents said that they are exclusively developing games for upcoming unannounced platforms, and another 16% said that they're working on existing and upcoming platforms. Now, based on the poll of 4,000 developers, 18% is actually a pretty sizable number. That would be, what, in the mid-700 range? That's a lot of developers working on games on unannounced platforms. Now, it was just listed as unannounced platforms. If there is some other unannounced platforms, like another Soulja Boy console, and he's got developers working on exclusive games on that, obviously that's just a joke. I'm pointing towards PlayStation 5, next Xbox, and 18% of developers working on games for those platforms is a pretty interesting statistic. Moving on from that, Bandai Namco has had quite a bit of issues with the Jump Force open beta. The open beta, if you played it, actually is a lot of fun, especially if you're into the characters. Is there a ton of depth to it? No. I don't know if it's gonna be the most competitive fighting game in the world, but for fans of the characters, it's probably gonna be something to check out. However, as I've been mentioning, the open beta did have a slew of issues, namely from a network side of things. Bandai Namco was forced to cancel the second half of the beta. The open beta will once again be reopening January 28th from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., then January 29th, 8 p.m. to 1 a.m., and then February 2nd, 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. So I think the time windows are a lot better. I just wish they left the open beta playable from the entirety of that period, but hey, I don't know the networking issues behind this. Maybe they have to put it in specific windows. And if you're unaware, there are a lot of playable characters in the open beta, including Goku, Frieza, Naruto, Sasuke, Luffy, Ichigo and Ruki are in there, Vegeta's in there, Kenshin's in there. A pretty sizable roster of characters for the open beta. However, of course, the final game will have a lot more characters. Jump Force is dropping on February 15th. Hopefully, they can get all of the network issues ironed out before the official release. Hopefully, it's fully playable during this open beta period, and we won't have to worry much longer. By the way, the times that I did mention, all of that is in Pacific time, so if you're in the Eastern time zone, move that 3 hours later. So for those of you guys, that would be January 28th, 2 a.m. to 7 a.m., January 29th, 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., and then February 2nd, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
バランスをどういう風に捉えているのか。
そうですね。すごく大変な作業なんですけども、ただとはいえ対戦アクションゲームなので、やはりベースとなるアクションの部分とか基本的な部分は統一するようにしています。その中で例えば必殺技の性能でありますとか、それこそアクションの見た目っていうところで各キャラクターの個性を再現して、どのキャラを使ってもとても気持ちよく遊べるというところのバランスで今回考えています。
That's interesting you bring that up because it was quite challenging.
Also, moving on from that, one of early 2019's most anticipated titles is the latest game coming from Software. Yes, they are moving away from Souls, but as you are probably aware by now, Activision is publishing their next game in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which looks to be yet another challenging action-adventure title, but definitely has a different spin to it compared to Souls. Obviously, with the title of Shadows Die Twice, that's an element to the game that you have to consider, and it does seem to be more directly story-oriented compared to the Souls titles. Coming out of the Taipei Game Show, we've gotten 15 minutes of new gameplay for the title, and it is looking visceral. It is looking really great from a visual standpoint. It's shaping up nicely, and the gameplay seems to have a lot of complexity to it in how you want to challenge every different scenario. I know a lot of you guys are sad about the fact that From Software isn't putting out another Souls game. Maybe you want a Bloodborne 2. I'm sure we'll get that at some point, but they want to move away from it for a little bit. They want to put out some new IPs. That's why they put out Dracine on the PlayStation VR. That's why they're now doing Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and I think for the majority of Souls fans, you're gonna go into this game expecting something really great, and you're gonna end up really enjoying it. You see some stealth mechanics in the game as well, such as hiding in bushes, gives you a little bit of an Assassin's Creed feel to it, at least the old school Assassin's Creed. So I'm expecting really great things out of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. We'll leave a link in the description box down below where you can check out the entirety of the new 15 minutes of gameplay. Would highly recommend that if you are excited for the game. Moving on from that, Avalanche Studios is very busy right now. They're working on a slew of different titles. They just put out Just Cause 4. They're helping out with Rage 2, and they're also self-publishing a game in Generation Zero. And we've got the official release date for Generation Zero. It'll be dropping on March 26th, and it'll be dropping at the price of $34.99. So that's great to see that the game is not $60. And with a game like this, because it is a little bit more big budget, I think they could have gotten away with a higher price point. Maybe $49.99, maybe even $59.99. I don't know the entirety of the content of the game, but the game is set in 1980s Sweden. The local population has disappeared and hostile machines roam the streets. Explore an open world to unravel the mystery, perfect your fighting strategies, and prepare to strike back. You can play alone or together with up to 3 friends as you discover ways to defeat the invaders. Now, it does say you can play alone, but I think cooperative play is a big element to this game, and you're gonna get the best experience possible if you play cooperatively. Some of the various things this game touts: you'll be able to survive in a hostile open world, take on missions and challenges throughout the open world to unravel more of the mystery while scavenging for weapons and supplies to help you stay alive. Tactfully combine weapons, skills, and equipment to lure, cripple, and destroy your enemies. 1 to 4 players, seamless multiplayer. You can play alone or team up with up to 3 friends as you collaborate and combine your unique skills to take down the enemies. Stealth and strategy: cooperate to live. Some enemies are too powerful to attack head-on, which is when you should adopt stealth tactics by moving silently, exploiting the enemy's senses, and using the environment to your advantage. It also touts 1980s nostalgia. Among the loot, you will find outfits and hairstyles to recreate your favorite 1980s style to take on the machines in style. Again, Generation Zero drops March 26th, and it'll be coming out at just $35.
To distract or confuse the enemies. Use these in combination with objects in your surroundings to create traps and ambushes, and turn a difficult fight into a winnable one. Should things go south, fleeing is a valid tactic. Since the machines are persistently simulated in the world, they will continue roaming if not killed. Whether you locate them minutes, hours, or days later, they will still bear the scars of your last encounter, waiting.
And lastly, for those of you that like to snag up all of the free themes, Spyro Reignited Trilogy has a fiery return theme. It's a dynamic theme, so definitely give that a look. A pretty cool theme there. Just go on over to the PlayStation Store, add it to your library, and you are good to go to enable this theme on your console. Really Spyrofies your console, so if you're not the biggest fan, maybe it won't be up your alley, but you might as well add it to your library. It's free, and you'll have access to it whenever. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, it looks like Marvel Spider-Man is making some progress. This first story draft is going to be shown to others by Brian Intihar, the creative director. Again, that'll probably evolve throughout the development of the game, but it looks like the game's making some quick progress. Based on the GDC 2019 survey, 18% of developers claim that they're making games for next-gen platforms, and I'm sure some of them marked the fact that they weren't even working on it, so it's probably a little bit more than 18%. That's just speculation on my part, but take it for what you will. The Jump Force open beta test times have been opened up once again, so you'll be able to check out that starting January 28th. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice has gotten 15 minutes of new gameplay. You gotta check that out. Generation Zero will be dropping March 26th, and check out that free Spyro dynamic theme. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.